Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our Bhagavad Gita morning class. How are you doing today?
Doing good, Mataji.
Good, Mataji.
Good. All right. So let's also see who we have on Facebook. We have Vijay Lakshmi Nair Mataji, Neha Mataji, Vidyavadu Mataji, Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu. Thank you so much. And Namazia Mataji also. Thank you so much for joining us, and please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. There we go. So are we ready to go into the Vidyapati Panchaka prayer? What do you say? Should we or should we not?
Haribo, we should.
Haribo. All right. Okay. Let's see. You're bringing that up here on a screen close to you momentarily, and let me know when you see it. Can you?
Yes.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Kadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Matsamo Nasti Papatma
Naparati cha kaschana parihare pilajye kim bhave purushottama
Yuvati
Vidya mathayuni
Namcha Yuvata Yata Manobhi
ramate tadme
Manome
manome ramatam tve Govinda Valam Skalita Padanam Bhumireva Balam Valam
Swami Saranam Prabhu
Prabhu
Govinda
Vallabhe Radhe
Rak
Radhaye Tamaham Shraddha
Swadi
Govinda Itu Janata
Govindo Ma
Namam Taya Shaha Radhe Vrindavanadeshe Karunam Ritupahini Kripani Japadabja Ashamayam Pradiyatam.
Okay, so Sutapa has memorized the whole prayer. Is that right, Sutapa?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Very good. Okay, so then let's do the reflections on the prayer.
We want to read the translation.
You have to do that. I'm just so excited that you have memorized it. Okay, who's going to give us the reading order then?
Meanwhile, Hare Krishna Arjun is
Hare
looking at the screen very nicely.
Arjuna?
Hare Bol.
Nice.
Hare Bol, Arjun.
Arjun, we talk about you every day. Class. Yeah. Okay. Is the reading order coming up? Is it already there?
Yes, Mataji.
सुतपा माताजी, गरिमा माताजी, निरुल प्रभु, ख्याति माताजी, ईश्वरी राधिका माताजी, सुयश, वर्षाना माताजी, जया माताजी, and Shraddha माताजी.
All right.
Mataji is not reading, so
Is not reading today? Okay. All right. So let's go and do the translations.
O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the young minds of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the minds of young men take pleasure in a young woman, kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone. Hare Krishna.
Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you.
O Srimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants.
O Srimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavana, you are river flowing with nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, so let's see. What do we think about this?
There is no sinner or offender as bad as I am. And this is for not this birth, maybe the millions or millions birth.
Yeah, yeah. That'll explain, right? That explains why a bad thing happened to good people. Right? Okay. What else?
Radha Vrindavanadi se Karuna Mritvahini.
Okay.
You are the river flowing with the nectar of mercy.
Why do you want her mercy?
I am nothing. I can't do anything. I need mercy to survive in this material world and to cross this as well.
Yeah, this material world is like that, right? When you don't expect anything, then it happens. When you don't want it to happen, it'll happen at that time, right? When you want it to happen, it will not happen. You want to do something, you're unable to do it. Like that, right? Okay. Isn't it? Sometimes you prepare so much to give a demonstration, and then everything works very fine, fantastic the night before, and then when you get up in the morning in front of everybody to present your thing, then computer goes bad, something goes wrong, something got changed, the computer got the operating system got upgraded overnight, and now things don't work. So material world is like that. Like without the grace of the Lord, then nothing can happen there. Yeah, so we need the mercy of the Lord all the time. So we should get into the habit of, begging for mercy before we embark on anything that we do. And anything means anything.
Kripaya nija padabja tasyam mahyam pradiyatam.
And what is that?
Please give me a service at your lotus feet.
Give service at your lotus feet, right? Yeah. And so look at the humility there, right? We are asking about service at the feet. A person might think that I'm intellectual, I'm so educated, I work from here. But you're saying, give me service at your feet, right? So that's the lowest down that we are saying, that I'm just worthy of that place on your body. Yeah.
Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanat Pranam. Bhumo Kalita Padanam. Bhumo Eva Valambanam. Vai Jata Paradhanam Tvam Eva Sharanam Prabhu.
Very nice. And what does that mean?
Anyone who slips on the ground, you only give the support. I'm such an offender. Please give me shelter at your lotus feet.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay.
Does that happen in life also, that you offend somebody and then only that person can save you?
Hare Krishna Mataji, say it once again.
So does it happen in real life that you offend someone and then only that person can save you?
Yes, Mataji, it happens many a times. Like you say, we offend our parents and they only save us.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not something very new that is being talked about there, right? It's just you're extending it to the Lord.
Yes.
What else?
Govinda Vallabhe Radhe.
Govinda Vallabhe Radhe. So what does that mean? Govinda Vallabhe Radhe.
Srimati Radharani is the beloved of Lord Govinda.
Okay. So what's the strategy there?
Because she is the beloved of Lord Govinda, if we serve her, then Lord Govinda will be pleased with us.
Yeah. Do we do that in real life?
We try. We're trying.
Yeah, give me some examples of doing it in real life, not necessarily to Radha and Govinda, but somewhere else. Do we use this strategy someplace else?
Yeah, with
Yes.
father and mother.
With whom?
With father and mother, if we want something to get, but we want, we are sure father will not listen. He will be angry. We'll just go to mother and say, hey, this happens. You know, can you tell my father and get this done?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay, what else? Let's see on
Also,
Facebook. Yeah, go ahead.
pleasing the children.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a few comments from Facebook. Let me just take those up as well. So we have Achyuta Radhe has joined us, and she says, pranams to all of you. And Naradha, I don't know in what context you said Narada. If you can elaborate more on that. And Sadhana Mataji is on with us also on the call. Parihare pi lajja me kim dhruve purushottama is what Vidyavadu Devi Dasi says. Yeah, and it talks about our shame, right? Then what can I speak? Preeti Radhika is also joining us over there. And Jaya Agarwal is also on Facebook. Is she on two places or did she leave us from here? Yes.
I'm at both the places.
The two places, you're omnipresent. That's a good point. We'll use that in the class today. Okay. Any other points here before we go to the next prayer? Okay, going 1, going 2, and going 3. Beginning to share the screen one more time with a different prayer now. Please confirm that you can see it. And from our reading order, who will go next?
I think it's me, Mataji.
Alrighty.
Sakradeva prapanno yastavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami tadvritam mama.
Very nice. Okay, synonyms. Who's going to give us the synonyms? After Ishwari Radha?
Myself, Mataji.
Okay, good.
Synonyms: Sakrat, once only; Eva, certainly; Prapannaha, surrendered; Yaha, anyone who; Tava, yours; Asmi, I am; Iti, thus; Cha, also; Yachate, praise; Abhayam, fearlessness; Sarvada, always; Tasmai, unto him; Dadami, I give; Etat, this; Vratam, vow; Mama, my.
Very good. Translation?
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna. It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. Hare Krishna.
Very good. What do you think?
For surrendering to that level, we need faith to that level, because when I just close the eyes and try to surrender at that time, so many counter thoughts comes and something. I mean, so let's say my father says, okay, do this, I will take care of you. We have so much faith in him because we have been born and brought up like that under his guidance. And when it comes to Lord saying it to us, at least me, I'm very, my faith is very fickle, and that makes me think otherwise. Oh, what will happen if I surrender? What all things would happen? So it's basically faith which would let us surrender, and that's not in me yet.
Very nice connection, bringing in surrender and faith, and you were very much on the dot there. There's actually a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that talks about and defines what Shraddha actually is. And I'm going to bring that up in the screen in front of you here momentarily. Let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes, Mataji.
You see that? Okay, who goes next?
Jai Mataji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Shraddha Sabde Vishwasha kahe Sudradha Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kale Sarva Karma Krata Haya.
Right. Yeah, so this is actually written in Bengali. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Parts of Chaitanya Charitamrita are written in Bengali because at that time people had complained and said that most of the scriptures are written in Sanskrit. So Krishnadas Kaviraj, he wrote in Sanskrit, and then whenever he was quoting, and he quoted profusely from Srimad Bhagavatam. So whenever he was quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, then he used Sanskrit for that, right? So right now it is Bengali, and then the way you pronounce it will be somebody only Bengali can pronounce it nicely. And I think our Sutapa Mataji can tell us really how this is to be pronounced, because Bengali goes differently, right? Sutapa?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
You want to give it a try? Maybe you give it a try after we listen to the translation, though.
Mhm.
So who comes after? Who's next?
Yourself, Mataji.
And there. Okay. So synonym: Shraddha Shabde, by the word Shraddha. Vishwas, faith. Kahe is said. Sudra, firm. Nischay, and then I think you will say Nischay, right? In Bengali. Certain. Krishna, Krishna. Unto Lord Krishna, bhakti, devotional service, kaile, by executing sarva karma, all activities, krita, completed, hoya. I think maybe I'm wrong, are. So you notice that here we won't be putting the emphasis as we do in Sanskrit, but let's hear, from Sutapa after we have done the translation.
So the Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service.
Okay. Now give us the Bengali.
শ্রদ্ধা শব্দে বিশ্বাস কহে শুদ্ধ নিশ্চয় কৃষ্ণে ভক্তি কইলে সর্বকর্ম কৃত হয়.
Oh, so you see, there's a O instead of the A and all that. Yeah, it sounds beautiful. Okay. So Shraddha is that you are confident, and it is a firm faith. It is firm. Otherwise, it is Komal Shraddha, if you can move it, push it around here and there. That by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all the subsidiary activities. Whatever you're supposed to do, you're doing it. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. And let's read the purport.
Garima Mataji.
Firm faith and confidence are called Shraddha. When one engages in the Lord's devotional service, he is to be understood to have performed all his responsibilities in the material world. He has satisfied his forefathers, ordinary living entities, and demigods, and is free from all responsibility. Such a person does not need to meet his responsibilities separately. It is automatically done. Fruitive activity karma is meant to satisfy the senses of the conditioned soul. However, when one awakens to Krishna consciousness, he does not have to work separately for pious activities. The best achievement of all fruitive activities is detachment from material life, and this detachment is spontaneously enjoyed by the devotee firmly engaged in the Lord's service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thoughts on that? What do you say?
Reminds me of Ramanand Sakha Prabhu.
Wow. Well, not everybody watching us knows about Ramananda Sakha Prabhu, so you might have to explain a little bit more.
I think it says that firm faith and confidence is called Shraddha, right? And when one engages in the Lord's devotional service, they are freed from all the material activities and responsibilities. So the way he is engaged, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he's a devotee who is currently residing at the temple and taking care of Radha Madan Mohan. He has he's staying in the world, but he's renounced it completely. So that's Ramanand Sakha Prabhu for us.
Yeah, thank you for glorifying. Yeah. Ramananda Prabhu, absolutely.
Yeah, and my Prabhu is saying that you can look.
You can look at his face also, and you can make out that he's like, okay. I mean, we will be so anxious. He'll be talking about different things, and he'll be like just like exit pragya, whatever we say, right? He'll seem
Yes.
like, yeah. So
Yes, his tone. He's always in the mode of goodness, right? Yeah. Even if he has to scold me, and I get scolding many times because I'm always in the mode of passion and he's in the mode of goodness. So there's something that I do stupid all the time. And then, but he'll always come and very quietly say, Shraddha Mataji. And then, tell you, yeah, yeah. So one who has dedicated his life. And then there was a lot, in the end, it said something about detachment. What did it say about detachment in the end?
Spontaneously enjoyed by the devotee firmly engaged in the Lord's service.
So this detachment is spontaneously enjoyed.
Yeah.
So there is enjoyment in that detachment, right? Because it's attachment that always gives you grief, right? Does it?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji, the devotee who is who is very sincere about the devotional service and still have the attachment with money and everything. So Krishna will come and take all those things from you so that you can only concentrate on him.
Yes, Krishna will take it away, or Krishna will leave it with you, but you're not attached to it.
Yeah.
You can have lots of money, but you're not attached to it. Whether it is, high, it is low, it's coming or it is going. You're like, okay, fine, Krishna, whatever you're saying. And then there's there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that talks about that. And I think let me just remember, Srimad Bhagavatam 127 is what it is. Okay, let's see what it comes up. Yeah, Vasudeva Bhagavati. Well, let's read that. Who goes next?
Niral.
Niral.
Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yada Haitukam.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. Okay, synonyms.
Vasudeve, unto Krishna. Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead. Bhakti Yoga, contact of devotional service. Prayojitaha, being applied. Janayati, does produce. Asu, very soon. Vairagyam, detachment. Jnanam, knowledge. Cha, and. Yat, that which. Ahi, to come. Causeless.
Very nice. Okay, translation.
By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world.
See, you get it as a byproduct. Okay, let's read this. It's a very nice purport. Who goes in next?
Fine, Mataji, purport. Those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Krishna to be something like material, emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other process of transcendental realization are recommended. According to them, bhakti or the devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high grade activities. Generally, it is said that bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and the less intelligent woman class. But that is not the actual fact. The bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is a great science, and it is open for all living beings, including the Shudras, Vaishyas, women, and even those lower than the low-born Shudras. So what to speak of the high-class men like the qualified brahmanas and the great self-realized kings? The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult.
Hare Krishna. The principles of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything, material and spiritual, and the result of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to the spiritual activities. Becoming detached from the material things does not mean becoming inert altogether, as men with a poor fund of knowledge think. Naishkarma means not understanding activities that will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essentials. Similarly, detachment from material form does not mean nullify the positive form. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. When the positive form is realized, the negative form are automatically eliminated. Therefore, with the development of bhakti cult, with the application of positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from the inferior things and he becomes attached to the superior things. Similarly, the bhakti cult, being the superior most occupation of the living being, leads him out of the material sense enjoyment. The next person can read one.
That is the sign of pure, that is the sign of pure devotee. He is not a fool, nor he is engaged in the inferior energies, nor does he have material values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. It actually happens by the grace of Almighty. In conclusion, one who is pure devotee has all other good qualities, namely knowledge, detachment, etc. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily well acquainted with the principle of bhakti cult. Bhakti is supermost occupation of human being.
Haribol. So what do you say?
Hare Krishna Mataji, why is it said in this that bhakti cult is not meant for the for the um, for the low for the this is the lowest? Why is it said that it is the lowest
People
in
are,
the big
yeah,
period?
yes. In the beginning, they're saying because you don't really need intelligence to be able to perform so-called intelligence, right? Otherwise, bhakti is the best use of your intelligence, right? Bhakti yoga is also called buddhi yoga. When you are using your intelligence and making the right connection, is bhakti yoga, right? And but people like to rake their brains, right? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? Like a jnani. So you don't have to be a jnani. You don't have to be. You don't have to have memorized all the verses of the Vedas. You shouldn't have. You could, there's no need for you even to have studied the Vedas. Bhakti is something that is there in you already. You are wired to do service of the Lord. And that is why it is easy for us, easy to do, because it's a natural thing, right? I mean, like, you know how fishes can swim in water. Now, if you try to make a fish walk, it cannot, because it's not wired to do that. So we are wired to do these things. But those who are on the path of jnana, they think that, you need to have that intelligence, you need to know Sanskrit verses, you need to know everything to be able to pursue any sort of a progress towards finding the absolute truth. But bhakti is not like that. Anybody can do the bhakti. The servant maid who comes to your home could be a bhakti, could be a bhakta, you know. there's no need for her to know Sanskrit language. She might not even know the Sanskrit language, but as soon as she gets up in the morning, she remembers the Lord in whatever way. She doesn't know verses, but she remembers the Lord in simple ways, steps the foot down, comes here, comes to your place to work, singing, bhajans of the Lord. And they also keep vratas. I know my sister-in-law's servant maid used to keep all the vratas, Ekadashi vrat and this and that. I used to be very surprised at her. I was like, okay, it took me so much time to read the literature, to read this and read that, to come to the conclusion that you should keep Ekadashi vrata. And this person is doing it automatically. So that is the difference between using the intellectual route versus just the pure bhakti route. So even if you are uneducated, even if you are a woman or of a lower class, and lower class basically means that they don't have access to all these kinds of cool things. And then women also, in the old had a specific duty in their home and household. They were not into, reading books, etc. So that's a set of people who say that bhakti. But here they are saying, no, it's not like that. Bhakti can be done by anybody, and it is the best thing to do. And why is it like that? Why do they say that bhakti is better than intellectual pursuit? Okay? So the major difference is, and let me try to give you an example. If you have a car and you want to go from point A to point B, right? So from Bombay, you are inside Bombay, or you are in Pune. And from Pune, you want to come to Boston in America. And you have a car, right? Can you come? You can drive?
No, Mataji.
Right? So you don't have the right vehicle. But if you are in a boat or a ship, you can come.
Ship maybe, yes.
Right? So you need to have the right kind of a vehicle to be able to cross over this bhavasagar, this ocean of the material world, right? And so the problem with jnana is that when you are doing jnana, when you are pursuing and reading scriptures and titillating your brain and your intellect and trying to find out who God is, you are using your mental faculties to do that. Okay, but we have to remember that mind and intelligence, right, even though they are subtle than the gross body, but mind and intelligence are still material, right? That is the biggest difference between bhakti and jnana. When you're doing jnana yoga, when you're trying to connect to the supreme through jnana, right, then you will not succeed because you have a car and you're trying to come to Boston. You will only be able to reach the shore maybe. And then you require somebody to come to you with a boat and say, come hop on my boat and I will take you across. Right? And that will be a spiritual master in the line of bhakti yoga who will come and do that if you are lucky to get that mercy. And that is why devotees go out and preach. That so that even if there are jnanis around, right, if they hear of this, there are chances that they might get attracted to the words of Krishna and then take to this process if they are right and Krishna is willing, like that, right? On the other hand, devotional service is a transcendental activity. Everything that you do in devotional service is transcendental, right? There's a very famous verse in Bhagavad Gita. One of you had pointed that out to me, and which was, I think, 4.24. Nijdham had reminded me the other day, so I can never forget it now. And let's read this. Who is next? Who's next to read? Oh, I need to share it, right? Okay.
It's you, Mataji.
Your turn to read.
Okay. Brahma arpanam brahma have brahmagno brahmanahutam brahma eva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. Okay. Synonyms, please. Next.
Brahma, spiritual in nature. Arpanam, contribution. Brahma, the supreme. Haviha, butter. Brahma, spiritual. Agnayu, in the fire of consummation, Brahmana, by the spirit soul, Hutam offered Brahma spiritual knowledge, Eva certainly, Tena by him, Gantavayam to be reached, Brahma spiritual, Karma in activities, Shamadhina by complete absorption.
Very good. Next one.
A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Hare Krishna.
Are we reading purport, Mataji?
Yes, please read. Yeah.
How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere, yet he has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overintelligence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds.
The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness as set forth here in the Gita. This process is generally known as yajna or activities sacrifice, simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. The word Brahma or Brahman means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body are called Brahma Jyotir. His spiritual effulgence. Next person can read.
Okay. Everything that exists is situated in that Brahma Jyotir. But when the Jyotir is covered by illusion, Maya, or sense gratification, it is called material. This material veil can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. Thus, the offering for the sake of Krishna consciousness, the consuming agent of such an offering or contribution, the process of consumption, the contributor, and the result are all combined together, Brahman, or the absolute truth. The absolute truth covered by Maya is called matter. Matter dovetailed for the cause of the absolute truth regains its spiritual quality. Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman, or the Supreme. When the mind is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it is said to be in samadhi, or trance. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yajna, or sacrifice for the absolute. In that condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the performer or leader of the performance, and the result or ultimate gain, everything becomes one in the absolute, the Supreme Brahman. That is the method of Krishna consciousness.
There you go. There you go. Right? So Bhakti Yoga is the way to go.
I have a quick question, Mataji. In the translation of word by word, Brahma is spiritual, Brahma is the supreme. Can you please clarify a little bit on that?
I'm just bringing it up. Right. So the language Sanskrit, the words will have many meanings. So we know Lord Brahma, right? Who is material. He's a jiva soul like us, right? But he's still supreme. If you ever to compare Brahma with all the other human beings in this universe, he's still the best. He's still the supreme, right? So the word Brahma is used like that. So then here, Brahma is also used to indicate anything which is spiritual in nature. It's a language thing, right? So Brahma will be used like that as well. Brahma, again, spiritual in nature. Also, another meaning of that is to say it is supreme, right? So Brahmana, by the spirit soul. Sometimes you will see the word Brahman used for many in a contextual, depending on the context, it will have a different meaning. It can mean from the soul to, the effulgence coming out from the body of the Lord, to something supreme, to something spiritual. So depending on where it is being used, the acharyas will come and give us the meaning, right? What exactly the meaning is to understand that. So if you were to just run it through a computer, it'll just get confused, right? Unless it's smarter in artificial intelligence. Like that. So are we all convinced that we should do Bhakti Yoga?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Otherwise, the class can end now. Because I can't teach you Jnana Yoga. Okay. So, did we do the other? We did the Sakrit Eva Panno, yes, right? Yeah. So it was all about surrendering to Krishna just once. And the interesting thing is that there's a nice verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which, I kind of just always live by. Okay, not here. Let me just go to vedabase.io. So here, if I go to Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, and the very first chapter, where it talks about the spiritual masters, and then we go to verse number 14. It's a very interesting verse and very promising. And am I sharing the screen with you all?
Not yet,
Not
Mataji.
yet? Okay, so let it come up and then you can see. All right, who's next in line to read? Who read it just now? Varshana Mataji. Oh, Suyash, who read it?
Shuish Babu.
Radhika Mataji. So I will read Mataji. Panchatattva Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam.
Okay, so let's see.
Hare Krishna. Panchatattva Atmakam, comprehending the 5 transcendental subject matters. Krishnam, unto Lord Krishna. Bhakta Rupa, in the form of devotee. Swarupakam, in the expansion of the devotee. Bhaktavtaram, in the incarnation of a devotee. Bhaktakyam, known as the devotee. Namami, I offer my obeisances. Bhakta Shaktikam, the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who supplies energy to the devotee. Hare Krishna.
Translation: I offer my obeisance unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is non-different from his feature as a devotee, devotional incarnation, devotional manifestation, pure devotee, and devotional energy.
Okay, so I really like the fact that where it said that Bhakta Shaktikam, the energy of the Supreme Lord that supplies energy to the devotee. Isn't it amazing how you see empowered and pure devotees of the Lord, they're so full of energy. They seem to
Yes,
be doing everything, right? And so if you invest your energies and your faith in Lord Chaitanya, let's see what's going to happen here. All right, who's going to go in next?
you, Mataji.
All right, but this is yeah, okay. Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet visprite viparitam syat Sri Chaitanyam namamitam. Okay, next one can give us.
Kathanchana, somehow or other, smrite by Nivamari, Yasmin, whom, Dushkaram, difficult things, Shukram, easy, bhavet, become, vishmrite, by forgetting him, vipartam, viparitam, just the opposite, shvat, become, Sri Chaitanyam, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mama Namami, I offer my respectful obeisances, come unto him.
Who is next?
Things that are very difficult to do to become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances.
So what do you say? Chaitanya. So what do you say? Isn't that
Easy things become difficult
for whom?
for those who don't have a faith.
Yes, and for those who have faith, what happens?
Difficult things become easy.
Isn't that a fantastic promise? Just this one sentence is enough for us to pursue devotional service to the Lord, Bhakti Yoga. Difficult things are going to become easy for you.
Yes, Mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Arjun have already said, remembered.
What did Arjuna say? Chaitanya. Arjuna, what did you say? Okay, so we're bringing up chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. And who is going to go in next now to read it?
Mataji, can you enable sharing?
Oh, right. Please.
Neeral Prabhu's turn to read.
Neeral Prabhu's turn. All right. Okay.
Contents of Gita summarize. Text 1. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of madhus, how can I counterattack with arrows in the battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
Text 5. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Text 6. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Hare Krishna.
Text 7. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Text 8. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Hare Krishna. Text 9. Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Text 10. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Hare Krishna.
Text 11. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for living nor for the dead. Text 12. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any one of us cease to be.
Text 13, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Shayan of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Text 15. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Text 16. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance and the end of the eternal, the soul. There is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Hare Krishna.
Text 17. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Text 18. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Neither he who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain, is in knowledge, for the self slays nor is slain. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, everlasting, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Hare Krishna.
O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Text 23. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Text 24. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Hare Krishna.
Text 25. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Text 26. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed.
Who goes in there?
Hare Krishna. Text 27. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Text 28. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation?
Text 29. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Text 30. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain, therefore you need not grieve for any living beings.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. Text 32. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Text 33. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Text 34. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Hare Krishna.
The great generals, text 35, the great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Text 36, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Hare Krishna.
Text 37. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do the fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by doing so, you will never incur sin. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, so we did our one chapter of Bhagavad Gita per the chat standards, and we go to 22. Okay.
Ishwari Radhika Mataji, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grananti naro aparani tatha sarirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. This is a difficult one.
Vasamsi, Vashamshi, how is it?
Vasam.
Vasamshi,
Vasamsi.
Asamsi, garments. Jirnani, old and worn out. Yatha, just as. Vihaya, giving up. Navani, new garments. Grinati. Is that right, Mataji?
Grinati. Yes.
Grinati.
Grinati.
Does accept. Naraha, a man. Aparani, others. Tatha, in the same way. Sharirani, bodies. Vihaya, giving up. Jirnani, old and useless. Anyani, different. Samyati, verily accepts. Navani, new sets. Dehi, the embodied.
Translation. As a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts the new material bodies, giving up the old and the useless ones. Hare Krishna.
Who goes after Varchana Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. No, Jaya Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji. Yeah, she's with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous change of the body which appear from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in previous verse 2.13.
Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad as well as the Shwet Ashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. The next person can read.
Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and other is some servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another, or from one body to another. The jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, But as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntarily surrender into Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Next person can read, Mataji.
Both the Mundaka Upanishad and Shvetashvara Upanishad confirms it. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno nishaya sochati muyamana justam yada pashyati anyam isham asya mahimanam iti vitashokaha. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the trees. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him, and thus hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Hare Krishna.
Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily changes of his old grandfather and his teachers. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reaction and prompted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. Okay, let's stop sharing it. So what are the things that we heard? Reflections.
Bodily consumption leads to the lamentation, right? And Krishna is giving the right knowledge to cut down that body consciousness.
And which Krishna has been doing for a long time, right?
Yeah.
In many verses, what I mean, yeah?
Yeah. He started with like first a concept introduction, and now he is saying how you can apply it in the practical life, that the soul that you are seeing, body that you are seeing in Bhishma Pitama or Dronacharya is eternal and their body is destructible.
Yes. What are the things we saw here?
Hare Krishna Mataji, like you say, the body is changing continuously, like from boyhood to youth, then to, you say, boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. So similarly, the body is changing, leaving one body and gross body and going to the other body. So there is no reason for lamentation, as Krishna said. So I really like this point in Srila Prabhupada's purport.
Very good.
Mataji, there's a line that he should be happy to kill their body in the righteous way so that they can be free of all of the karmic reactions of the previous lives. So it struck my mind that the righteous fight means way. So if we kill, means we are not supposed to, then we have the authority to like to kill that person in the righteous way, means except the fight, what will be the righteous way, Mataji?
Yeah, a righteous way could be that you are in the judicial system, and the person who pulls the news or presses the button on the electrical chair, he's also killing in the righteous way. He's not killing because he's angry with somebody or hates somebody. He's doing it as part of his duty. That's also a righteous way, in addition to fighting in a war like that. You know, sometimes also you see that people come and say, I killed in self-defense. Somebody came to attack you and he killed in self-defense. So that's also righteous. If you're able to prove that you did it that way, then you don't go to jail and, you know, don't suffer the
So
punishment.
there will be no reactions to those people.
Yes.
That we understood from this verse.
Yeah, and here what he's saying is that he looking at it from the two perspective. One is that Arjuna killing his teacher, right? So there is no karma that's going to incur on part of Arjuna, because he's doing it as part of his duty, right? He's in a varnashram, he's a kshatriya, so he's killing, right? But here also Prabhupada is saying in the purport that looking at it from the perspective of Dronacharya, right? So from the perfect Dronacharya, now Dronacharya was Dronacharya, Bhishma. He's saying that they're old, and they had lived a good life. They were good people, except for that a few times they messed it up all up, right? Like in the case of Draupadi, Chirhanan, they did not speak up, like that. But they are good people. So what Prabhupada is saying is that if Arjuna kills them in the battlefield, then they have gotten the punishment for whatever wrongs that they have done, right? And then they are old. They're old. So very interesting thing that very interesting analogy that has been brought up here is, what's the analogy that is used in this verse?
That one body, the soul is going to from a body to the another body.
Okay. And what's the analogy that is used?
Krishna is super soul watching as a bird.
Let's bring up that verse, Suyash Prabhu, and let's look at the analogy there. Sanskrit, yeah. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani ghrhnati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnanya anyani samyati navani dehi. So you will notice that he's using the analogy of clothes. Exactly, right? Let's look at the translation. What does he say?
Puts on new garments, giving up the old ones. The soul similarly, accepts new material body.
So he's just equating the material body to be a cloth, right? And Prabhupada gives a very nice example. He says that if a man is wearing a suit, right? He's wearing a pant and a coat, right? So there's a suit, but you just don't wear a pant and a coat like that. You also wear a shirt underneath it, right? That's what makes it a suit. And then, of course, inside it is the body of the man, right? So how does it equate in our parlance is that the outer coat, the main suit, the pant and the coat are like our gross body, right? What is our gross body? What does the gross body comprise of?
Pant and coat.
Yeah, no, but in real life.
Earth, water.
Our senses, our body.
Our senses and the body, yes, right? So majorly, they constitute your Gyanendriya, Karmendriya, and anything inside. They all constitute your gross body, right? So that is the pant and coat, okay? And then there is a subtle body. The subtle body is equated to the shirt that you wear underneath the gross body. And what is a subtle body? What is a subtle body made up of?
Mind and intelligence.
Mind, intelligence,
and
ego.
soul,
and false ego, right?
body.
That's what makes up our inside body. And then inside that is the body, right? So when you see a man from the military, and maybe Varshana Mataji can help me here, right? So the military man wears a military dress, right? Dress of a military man. And then he will also have some medals over here, or which determine. Now, do you have some special things that you put here, Varshana, depending on your designation, your position in the army?
Yes, Mataji, on the shoulders, they wear the designation.
Okay.
And on the chest, they wear wherever they have worked, and whatever medals they got, they put there.
They put all those things there. Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. So when a person comes in front of you like that, right? So Varshana Mataji's husband comes in front of you wearing a military dress with his things on his shoulder and the medals on his chest like that. So you do respect him, right? But what is the real thing that you respect? Are you respecting the medals which are there? Are you respecting the shoulder straps which are there? Who exactly are you respecting?
The person inside.
Person.
The person inside, right? So similarly here, what Krishna is telling to Arjuna is that Arjuna, you know, this body that you have, gross and subtle, is just like you can take off new clothes when the clothes become old, right? Jirnanya. They said jirna means old. When the clothes become old, then you, just as you put on new clothes as the cold becomes old, as the clothes become old, similarly, when you become when this gross body becomes old, then you have to change it. In as much as, you know, when the suit gets tattered and torn, is becoming limp and things like that, you get rid of the suit, right? And you bring a new one and you wear it effortlessly without any complaints. And actually, you are very happy, right? Aren't we happy when we get something new?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Give me some examples of new things that you can get.
New house, new car.
Right? So anything that you, new clothes, new piece of jewelry, you know. So anytime that you get anything new, you are actually happy. So similarly here also, Krishna is telling to Arjuna that, okay, you see all these, your teacher and your grandfather, but see, their bodies have become old, right? And just as, you know, you would get rid of an old piece of cloth, then kill them, because they have already led a righteous life, and they'll be, in the next life, they'll go to a higher level. They'll go to a higher planet. So there is no harm in your going and killing them like that. So it's a new, you know, they will get new bodies. They'll get new bodies there, right? And if you look at the, can you bring up the purport for that towards the end of it, where there was a talk of surrender?
Yeah, that is very nice. That if you surrender like Krishna, Arjuna, then your
The word surrender. I saw that somewhere, right? Can you search for surrender? Yeah. Arjuna agreed to do so by voluntary surrender unto Krishna by for instruction. And this came in the context of why he is defining Krishna and Arjuna to be two birds, right? They are like two birds and they are sitting on a tree. And then and you can stop sharing it now. And they are sitting on a tree. One of them is enjoying and is attached to the fruits on that tree, right? So like we are attached to the fruits of our labor. I'm doing this, so I'm going to get that. And I'm focusing on that, the results of my labor, my endeavors. So he's saying, and then that's one tree and the one bird, and the other bird sitting on a tree is just observing the other one. And that other bird is Krishna, and he's not associated with enjoying the material things, right? But then he also says that even if once that the bird turns its face towards Krishna, right, and surrender. So that was a question about surrender. And when did Arjuna surrendered? He surrenders in verse number 7 of this chapter, where he says, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava, right? In that one, right? Shishyami tvam dharma samura cheta, shishyaste ham shadi mam tvam prapannam. So in the end, he says, I'm your student and a soul surrendered unto you, right? Now, in which prayer that we do every morning do we talk about surrender?
Chaitanya, that one, Mataji, I am all yours. Please.
Yeah.
Twameva Sharanam Prabhu.
Twameva Sharanam Prabhu. Okay. Yeah, Sharanam is shelter. Yeah. But the one that talks about surrender into the soul in that sense is the second prayer that we do. Sakrit Eva Prapanno. Yes. Right? That's the one that we do every day. And here. Right? Can you see that? Sakrideva, can you see that? Can someone?
Yes,
Yes,
okay. You can see that, right? So it is saying, and then Sadhana Mataji, this will also answer your question. So this verse is actually saying, Sakrid eva prapanno yas tavas iti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. So what this person has done is, not asking for anything. Nothing is being asked for here. All that the person is saying is, if one once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours. So that is all that person is saying. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, right? Help me do this, help me do that, give me this, give me that, right? It's just saying that, I am yours. I'm yours to the Lord. And then now the Lord has got the responsibility, because a person has come and surrendered to you. Now what are we supposed to do? Right? So what are you supposed to do with that person? Because that other things which are around him will continue to be there, because the soul is embodied in a material body. So the laws of material nature are going to act on the body. And because the soul has got this false identification with the body, so whenever anything happens to the body, the soul is going to suffer because of that, right? The body, extensions of body, the subtle body, which is the mind, any kind of inflictions that will come, the person is going to suffer. Now, whenever some distresses come to you, there are two ways in which you can handle it. You can handle it, completely limp and just completely suffer it, or you can have the courage to tolerate that. So what in this particular verse is being said is that if you surrender to me, right, and says, from this day I am yours, and he said, Shishyasteham shadi mam tam prapannam, that I am your student and a soul surrendered unto you. In the 7th verse, it said that, right? Then if a person comes there and says something like that, what is Krishna going to do? I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that point onwards. So Krishna in turn, without our even asking for it, all that we did was we said, we are surrendered unto you, and without even asking for it, Krishna is going to give it to you, right? And so this was mentioned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the CC Madhya Leela. And then he's quoting a verse from Ramayana where Lord Ramchandra actually says this particular verse. He says that Sakrideva Pannaya, that even, so you can see that the importance of surrender. Right? And we talked about that there are 6 limbs of surrender, right? The other day we talked about surrender. Does anybody remember what were the six limbs we talked about when a person surrenders? To Krishna, what are the 6 things that a person does, one who is surrendered to Krishna? I mean, one thing is to say that I'm surrendered to Krishna, but you have to exhibit some behavior also, right? Now, as a ready reckoner, these limbs of surrender are also described in Bhagavad Gita in 18.66 verse, which is in the purport. Prabhupada brings up this concept. And of course, he talks about surrender because 18.66 is an amazing verse. And what does it say? Can somebody read it?
Abandon all values of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from sinful reactions. Do not fear.
Yeah, so when will the fear not come? When you have the courage, right? Fear and courage go opposite, like yesterday, I think Suyash Prabhu had pointed out that connection. So he's saying, do not fear. And then here in the purport, Krishna, Prabhupada is quoting from the Hari Bhakti Vilas, and he's saying that these are the limbs of surrender. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshishati iti vishvaso, gopritve varanam tatha, atmanikshepa karpanye, shadvida Sharnagata. So these are the 6 processes of doing a surrender to the Lord. Right? So anukulyasya sankalpa, that you should simply accept religious principles that will lead ultimately to devotional service of the Lord. And you should also pratikulyasya varjanam, you should give up those kind of things. Right? Anything that does not lead should be avoided. To Krishna consciousness should be avoided. Then one should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect you from all the difficulties. Right? There's no need of thinking how one should keep body and soul together, because you are a soul surrendered to Krishna. Krishna will see to that, right? And then you should also think yourself as helpless. And that is what we do in the Vigyapti Panchika prayers, right? We tell them that, to Radha that we are such sinners, we are in such a bad situation. Radha Rani, you are the ocean of mercy. You are the only one who can help us, like that. That's the prayer that we do, right? So it goes on like that and lists the 6 items of surrender which are there. So again, going back to this particular verse, that we have to understand that if what is Krishna trying to do? Krishna is trying to make Arjuna fight the war, right? And Arjuna was saying, I don't want to fight the war. So Krishna has to explain things to him. So he first said that the soul is there, the soul is indestructible, is different from the material body, right? And then in 2.17, let's see, and of course Krishna Prabhupada mentions in the purport that quotes in the purport verse number 13 from the Bhagavad Gita, where he said, Dehismin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantar praptir dhiras tatna muhirte. Dehismin yatha dehe. So he's saying that even while you are in this body, you are gradually, the soul is moving from the body of a boy to a body of a youth, to a body of an adult, to a body of an old man, like that. So you are undergoing that transmigration even while you think that you are alive. So similarly, at the time of death, you just move into another body, back to a smaller body and a younger body again, like that. So he explains that to him. And then in the 17th verse, he says, that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So that is where there's a difference between how the soul pervades the body versus how we understand pervade in the real life, right? So can you give me an example of pervade in the real life? Like you enter into a house, you pervade the house, you take a house and you up for residence, you live there. So in the house, you are, and if the house is a body and you are the soul. So if you live in a house, then either you are in the bedroom, and if it's a 5-bedroom house, either you are in bedroom 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, or you're in the kitchen, or you're in the bathroom, right? Or you're in the living room, like that. You're not there everywhere. Your presence is not felt everywhere. But the way the soul pervades the body is different. The soul lives in the body. Where does the soul live in the body?
Heart.
It's in the heart.
In the heart, right? It lives in the heart, right? But then it is felt. It pervades the whole body through consciousness. Because there is a soul inside, its presence is felt all over the body. All over the body, right? Everything is animated. Everything is sentient. You can understand, feel, like that. So that is the difference between soul pervading a body and a person pervading a home. There's a difference between pervade that. So soul's pervasion is of a superior nature. And here, Krishna is saying that, okay, but what the soul is pervading, the body, changes with time. And we talked about the 6 transformations that happen, right? In the previous verses, Prabhupada talked about in the purport that a person is born, person grows, becomes a youth, reproduces, stays for some time, dwindles, and finally dies, like that. So there are 6 transformations of the body. So it is bound to happen. It is bound to happen like that. So even if Arjuna was not to kill, Arjuna would say, okay, I'm not going to fight the war, and I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm not going to kill my grandfather. I'm not going to kill my teacher, like that, right? But the thing is that even if he doesn't kill them, right? Even if he doesn't kill them, they will die. In any case, they will die, because it's an old cloth. What you're wearing, the body that you're wearing is a cloth. And as cloth can become jirnani, right? It can become old and tattered. Similarly, the body also becomes old and tattered, and they will have to leave it. But if you kill them, then all their past sinful activities will become clear, because they died in the battlefield. They died doing their duty also. So you kill them like that. And then Varshana Mataji pointed out that yesterday there was a question by V.G. Nair Mataji that about death. So when this death is happening, then what happens, right? When the soul leaves the body, does our karma also go with it, right? So you can see over here that depending on how you died, some of the karma can get washed away. Like in this case, because Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama are going to give up their life on a battlefield. So some of the karma does get washed away. Otherwise, yes, we do carry our karma, we do carry our memories. Everything is recorded in the subtle body, and with the subtle body, we go into and take another body next, like that. So yeah, so a lot which is there, and Krishna gives, and this is a very, very popular verse from the Bhagavad Gita. A lot of people quote this verse, right? And it's a very nice analogy also that is given there, that it's just a cloth. Now the problem is that when we take off any cloth, right? We change the sari, put on a new sari, it doesn't matter, right? If you find that there are some threads coming out of this corner, I can easily take a pair of scissors and cut it off like that, right? Without any qualms, without feeling it like that, because I don't identify. This is not me. Myself and this sari are separate entities, two separate entities. What I do to the other entity does not affect me, right? But because of the false ego means I am something, right? The false ego is that you are thinking I am, but for the wrong thing, for something which is wrong, which is false. So when I'm thinking I am this body, it is said to be false ego. The real ego is I am the soul. That is what I am. So because of this false identification that I'm identifying with my cloth, which is the body that I wear, because I'm identifying with the cloth, anything that happens to the cloth, right, I start to suffer. I start to feel it, right? Like I can take this sari and I can put iron in it. I can throw this sari in a washer dryer, put a lot of water on it, submerge it in water. Nothing happens to me. I don't feel bad about it. But try to submerge your body in a tub of water, right? We'll gasp for breath and come out like that, because we identify that we are the body. And then when you reach a level where you don't identify yourself with this body, then any pains or any pleasures, for that matter, provided to you by the body, have no consequence. You're able to look at it separately, and you're able to look at it, as an object, a separate thing, and not something that is me, like that. So Krishna is trying to emphasize that to Arjuna here again, saying that, you do this, understand this, and get up and fight. Like that.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, we say that some of the karmas will be washed away, like for Bhishma and Dronacharya. What about us when we die? You see, some of the karmas will be washed away, like if we are in bhakti, so they will be washed away, but some of them we will carry with us. How is the procedure like?
Okay. All right. I'm going to share a verse from here, which is from Bhagavad Gita. It's verse number 417, and which is telling you about karma. Karmano hi bodhavyam cha vikarmana, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. And I want you to focus on gahana karmano gatihi, this part. Okay? So gahana, what is gahana?
Gahana, very difficult.
Very difficult, right? Karmana,
Work.
gatihi,
Entrance.
Okay. So what does it say in the translation? You read it for me, please.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
Inaction is, right? So we have to understand all that. And the main point that Krishna is saying, that the intricacies of action are very hard to understand, right? So when you do some activities and you do some karma, some of the karma can get resolved in the same life, and you can suffer that karma in the same life, and you have consumed that karma and you have gotten rid of it. For example, if a person eats ice cream every day in the night, and so after 40 years of doing such a thing, he'll get a heart attack and he will suffer the pain of a heart attack. So his karma is dissolved. You did something and then you suffered it, like that, in the same life, right? So sometimes your karmas can be, dissolved like that. Sometimes the karma could be a little different. For example, we ate too much in the night, and then you get up in the middle of the night and there is pain in the stomach. But the pain in the stomach will not last forever, because you're going to take up some antacid or some digestive syrup, and you're going to subdue that. So the punishment for that is already over, and you find a solution also to get over it. So karma can be dissolved like that also. right? And then the second thing is that some of the karma will get carried forward into the next life, because the way the conditions are here in this life, they cannot be sorted out like that. For example, if somebody kills another person, murders somebody else, the other person is already dead. Now we know by the laws of karma that, the person who's murdered will be killing this person, the first person, right? But we have to wait for this person, the one who's killed, to get a new body, to be able to perform. And then there are so many other things, because he also has his own backlog of karma. You have your own backlog of karma. So in which of the future lives are you two going to come together to fulfill the reaction to that karma is a very intricate thing. That's why he's saying the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. It's very difficult to understand the intricacies of the karma which are there, right? He also say that when a person takes initiation from the spiritual master, all the record of his karma are dissolved, right? But initiation is the beginning, and we continue to do more sinful activities, right? So we are accumulating karma. That's why they say that this material world is a very dicey place. Just because you are in this material world, you can end up making mistakes. You can end up doing things that were, and intricacies of karma are very, very hard to understand. And why it says it's very, very hard to understand is, for example, I gave the example last time of a person is working in a bottle company and he makes bottles, and one of the bottles is used for putting wine in it. And somebody drinks that wine and bashes his car against a pedestrian, and the pedestrian is killed. So when you try to find out the root cause of the death, the person who made the bottle also gets implicated. So even though things might appear to be very simple and very, safe, but you could get implicated in such things also. So this material world is not a good place to live. You should try to get out of it as soon as we can and engage in the service of Krishna in the spiritual planets like that. So
the same way, Mataji, as the meat eater, you see, the one who, kills, the one who cleans it, one who sells it, and one who, brings it, cooks it, feeds. All are involved in that, and everybody will have the effect of the karma. So it is the same way.
Yes, and the interesting thing to note over here is that when you become a devotee, right?
Yes.
When you become a devotee, devotees handle karma in a very different way. For example, the karma is like, I insulted somebody, they felt bad, and now this life they will come and insult me and I will feel bad. So it's balanced, right? Cleared. Everything is cleared. But when you're a devotee and other people are insulting you, you don't take that insult, right? Because you're looking at them as a soul, you're not associating them with the body. So for a devotee, it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to dissolve the karmas of the devotee. And so sometimes what happens is that a devotee will come and do bad things to you, which you won't be able to tolerate. Other human beings you can tolerate, other mundane objects you can tolerate, other people who are not in devotional service, they are insulting you, you can tolerate that. But when a devotee does it, then the hurt starts again. That how could a devotee do this to me? How could a devotee do this to me? And then you resolve your karma that way. So sometimes if you see devotees behaving with each other in a abnormal way, then you can understand that there is some karma that was involved and which is getting dissolved now and will go away. So intricacies of the karma are very difficult to understand.
Thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome. Okay, and so Vijay Lakshmi Mataji, okay, I'm glad I could answer that. Sadhana Mataji as well. And then, okay, Shweta is watching us online. Fantastic. Welcome, Shweta. And then Neha, Vidyavadu using Neha's phone says that as long as the eternal soul is in material bondage, it has to change the body over and over again. Yes. But the moment he turns to Krishna, there are chances of liberation. Yes. Yes. So do you want to turn to Krishna? Or you already turned?
He already turned, not maybe in the whole way.
Yeah, but you're beginning to turn, and which is good. Which is good. There's a lot of promise there, and there's nothing else that can save you, right? Right? Only Krishna can save you. So have faith with Krishna, even if there is a coronavirus right in the door next to you, or upstairs or downstairs where you live. Have faith in Krishna. Rakshishati iti vishwaso. Have the faith that Krishna is going to protect you, no matter what happens. Right? Have that strong faith. Build it, cultivate it, meditate on it, make it a habit to just say, Rakshiti iti vishwaso. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will protect me. Even without your asking Krishna, Krishna has been protecting us all along. We don't notice. Otherwise, how come the kids are alive? How come the kids stay alive? They do all kinds of naughty things, right? They do all kinds of naughty things, and then somehow or the other they are saved, right? In majority of the cases. Krishna takes care of everybody, so he'll take care of you also. Okay? So stay with that thought today and think about Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother,
You're
for
welcome.
explaining.
We went a little over 8 o'clock, but we will take it from here. Tomorrow is Friday, and we'll have a shorter class tomorrow. Okay? But we'll have a Bhagavatam class in the evening, which is now at 5 o'clock.